Hello, everybody. We're back again at We Talk Film. I am your host, Ben Berry. Today we are joined by our other host,
Hey,
Clayton.
I'm Clayton. I'm always here.
And we also have our first special guest of the podcast. We have Mr. James.
What it do? How's it going?
James.
Yeah,
welcome, James. So it was your idea, basically, to come on, and you wanted to do the Last of Us podcast. So basically, you forced Clayton and I to hurry up and watch the rest of Last of Us, and we only finished it just this morning.
Hell yeah!
So yeah, we'll get straight into the Last of Us podcast, I suppose. Do you guys want to do like an overall thing, or go by each episode? Either way.
Oh man, I think we should start maybe some overall thoughts. Why doesn't James kick us off?
Overall thoughts.
Why don't you
James
kick us overall thoughts?
Oh,
take it away.
Can I swear on this? Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah. We said it.
Go for it.
Okay.
I fucking loved it. Loved it. Flawless. Apart from maybe the last two episodes, there's honestly like nothing that I could fault about the series.
True. That's some good overall thoughts. Barry, why don't you take it away?
Yeah. Well, I'm very impressed by the show. Obviously, I knew very little about the video game. Obviously, I know it's a video game. Never played them or anything like that. And I was like, oh, cool. It's going to be a good show. And then I had Pedro Pascal, and I was like, yep, started to watch it. First episode, I was already crying. So.
Mate, you're crying.
It's beautiful.
It made me cry, man. That doesn't happen often.
Wow. I'm surprised.
But yes, overall, I am very impressed by the show. Definitely a big contender of big shows that I've watched in recent years. So.
Yeah. No, I'd probably agree with you. All right. My overall thoughts. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yep.
I smashed out the last 5 episodes today. It was really good.
Damn.
No, I enjoyed it. I mean, I'd played both the games all the way through multiple times. So I was coming in this as a fan of the games, and I was impressed with how well they did adapt the source material and how well that they added new stuff and made it interesting. It was good. Really enjoyed the show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to be referencing you a lot in terms of the video games, because I know nothing about the video games.
That's okay. And
well, certain things anyway.
To be honest, same here. Last time I played the video game was, I think, probably like 4 years ago. So my memory of the game is very fuzzy.
Bro, I remember playing through it.
And I haven't even played
PC
part 2 yet.
So I don't own a PlayStation at all. Never have.
I think they just come on PC recently, but that's okay.
Okay, I have to look.
Doesn't matter too much. But from this point on, we're gonna issue a spoiler warning, because we didn't do that on our first 2 episodes. You know, we're gonna make sure people don't get spoiled by this. So spoilers
so here comes the spoilers.
Last of Us show and the video games by the looks of it. So we hope you're ready for that. So that was overall thoughts.
Overall thoughts. Let's kick into the first episode, I suppose.
Yeah.
Episode by episode.
Yeah.
Should we keep doing it in the order?
On episode.
Should we keep doing it in order of James, Barry, me?
Yep. Let's start off. So do you want to start us off, James, with episode 1, When You're Lost in the Darkness? The description for this episode: 20 years after a fungal outbreak ravages the planet, survivor Joel and Tess are tasked with a mission that could change everything. Ding, ding, ding. To start off, James, what are your thoughts on the first episode of Last of Us?
I loved it. I haven't got full words, full expressions for it. It was done well. I really liked Joel's daughter.
Sarah? Yeah.
Sarah was acted well, perfectly cast. I mean, every actor in the show I feel like was perfectly cast, but probably the scene where she what was it? When the grandma turns into a zombie, that's really when I was like, oh shit is going down now.
Got wacky tentacle mouth, and I was like, ooh.
That was disturbing.
It was amazing. That was kind of when I started to realize my memories of the video game coming back, and I would start to notice certain scenes and be hear the dialogue and be like, oh my god, it's really happening. I'm watching the show now. Yeah.
So good.
It's alive. I can actually touch it. Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
I think the scene when It's, yeah, I can't remember.
You can't remember? The scene when they did that thing was really
The
good.
scene when they did the thing, yeah.
I love when
but
they did the
overall,
thing.
like, yeah, I love the thing, especially Pedro Pascal when he does things. It's just, I want him to be my daddy, just in general. Pedro Pascal, can you please come onto our podcast?
Man.
You'll have to be
Call you
in
daddy.
danger
Luscious
all the time.
Pedro
Though.
Pascal here.
Yeah, he'll have to journey across some barren place with you.
Yep. Got to go on some sort of adventure with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
That's my overall arc. I mean, like everything he's been in, he's essentially gone on a journey with someone or something.
Yeah, literally. Except for that Wonder Woman movie he was in. Remember that?
Yeah, and then also Game of Thrones when
He was
he
in Wonder
fucking
Woman?
died.
Yeah, he was in the second Wonder Woman movie. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a terrible movie, but Pedro Pascal was the bad guy in
Oh
it.
god.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
God.
Oh no,
Played
it was
as
awful.
Max
He's
or whatever
not
his
a-
name was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't think he's supposed to be a bad guy.
He was blonde in it too. It looked really weird. Man.
Ew.
I mean, he does some pretty bad things in the show. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like he
Yeah.
fucking kills a lot of fucking people, man.
Yeah, he's not a good guy in this. I'm surprised at how they
No.
kind of kept it like that. Because in the games, Joel's very much not a good person. At least not, or he has like good values, but he's willing to do anything to make that happen, to allow him
Yeah,
to live
yeah.
and survive and protect his family. But the first episode kicked it off really well. Sorry to steal your thunder, Barry. I'm taking the spotlight.
Go for it.
Yeah, it followed largely the events of the first mission in the game where you play as Sarah. I don't know if you've seen that. It's probably one of my favorite opening segments of
About the
any video
scene
game
when
ever.
she does die. Like I've seen that as a clip before.
Yeah.
So I knew that she was gonna die. I just wasn't like expecting how it all went down.
Yeah, they did the whole thing really well, and I'm surprised they spent. What I really liked about it, and it surprised me, is they spent so much time with Sarah before the outbreak happened. It made you care about her more, even though the games already did it so well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing because it's a long episode. This one, like the first one's like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so I was just
long.
like, they have to cover a lot, and they did.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed this, James, being that you played the game. You know the scene where they get hit by the truck in the game when they're driving along? Sarah's like, watch out, and then the truck hits them.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of hinted at that in the show. It was like, what? And then the truck like stopped, and they're like, oh, damn. Stuff like that just made me smile every time, where they just hint at the game just enough that you know what's going to happen. And then it's so good. So good. And it managed to stay fresh the whole way through, too. It was really good.
Okay, so like what obviously like was there like any other added elements to the first episode from the video game? Or did they keep that pretty much the same? Just more of Sarah essentially.
Stuff? Yeah, I think it was pretty similar, especially when it all started happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The scene
Because even it was at the beginning of this episode. Oh, you go, James.
Oh yeah, no, the scene, I think it was the scene when she's on the couch like falling asleep. The dialogue in that was very similar to the video game.
It was almost identical, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know obviously at the beginning of this episode, we actually, what starts back out in the 1960s about the scientist guy talking about
flashback.
The fungus or whatever it was that causes all this. And I was like really confused, even like I knew of the video games and stuff like that, like actually how it all began. I was like, oh, it's an actual fungus. Wow. I am terrified of fungus now because of this bloody show.
Yeah, it's based on a real thing too.
Based on a real thing too. That's the creepy part about it.
Extra scary.
But yeah, so my thoughts about the first episode, coming from a person that knew very little from the video game, it was tremendous. It got me hooked on it. I'm pretty sure I watched the first like 3 the following next day after watching the first episode. And I was like, I could just watch this. So I could definitely seeing me watch this a few times over the next coming weeks. Just for like little scenes and stuff like that. And like I said, the acting is on point. The casting for it is on point. That's the thing, because obviously you play as Joel in the first game.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
most of it.
So how is like Pedro Pascal's character as Joel? Was it pretty similar? Like, is he well portrayed, like compared to the games, or?
Or he's pretty spot on to how he is in the game. And the thing about this is they didn't let the actors play the game before they filmed it because they wanted everything to be shock
I heard
value,
about that.
Which made me a little suspicious of it. I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea. But I guess they managed to pull it off. I mean, they had the real voice actors in the show as well.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Seen
sure that
that.
helped. But they did a really good job. What do you think, James?
Well, that's the thing, because it's coming from obviously the same guy that made the game that Neil
That's not
Druckmann.
James.
Ah, so it's from the same guy who made the video game. Obviously, made the show. So that helps a lot.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts, James?
Pedro Pascal, I wouldn't know of anyone else who would be able to play Joel the same way. And I honestly kind of thought Pedro Pascal was who played Joel in the video
He
game.
looks like him so
Low
much,
key.
eh?
Okay. Yeah.
So good. Yeah, if you look at pictures, they're almost identical. Because the voice actor for Joel in the show and in real life,
it doesn't
he's
look like it at
skinnier
all.
than Joel.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a lot skinnier, a lot
Good old
thinner.
Troy Baker.
Yeah, Troy Baker. He's in just about everything. But
Yep.
yeah, so Pedro did a really good job, and so did Bella Ramsey, the actress who plays Ellie. She did really good. As much as she doesn't look like the Ellie in the games, she sounds and acts like the Ellie in the games to the point where you buy her as Ellie pretty quickly.
Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, because obviously the end of the first episode is when Joel does meet Ellie, and then obviously sets up into the second episode, which I suppose we can talk about that. Did we actually want to do a quick rating on per episode or overall?
I reckon because this is a special one, we just rate the season. We just give the show as a whole.
Yeah. Yep. So let's get into episode 2 then, which is called Infected. After escaping the QZ, Joel and Tess clash over Ellie's fate while navigating the ruins of a long-abandoned Boston. So obviously, the end of the first episode, Ellie met Joel and Tess, and they have to basically get out of the QZ and get Ellie across the entire country. This is what starts off our journey. So James, do you want to start out first with the second episode? What were your thoughts?
Same as the first, very good build up. I love the scene. I love the scene in Jakarta when they were talking about how the discussing the beginnings of the Cordyceps outbreak.
I forgot about that. That was really good. Yeah,
that was a nice detail.
And that was probably one of the things I'd say with the series as a whole, the way they capture the emotion of or the feeling of the scenes was just spot on. It was when she says to the military guard hey, the only thing we can do is bomb this city. I just want to be with my family now.
Oh man,
it just it was that moment of you feel it inside. You're if an outbreak happened, there's really nothing you could do. It's just run for the fucking hills.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, that was my thoughts.
Hell yeah, Barry.
Yeah. So this is obviously the episode where we find out more on Ellie, on who she is, and that she actually is immune to the infection.
What?
Which was just what? Oh my god. She got bit, but somehow still kicking. And then obviously Joel and Tess are a bit freaked out by that. Obviously Joel more than Tess.
As you would.
But also the actress that plays Tess as well, I think she was very well done. Obviously I don't know anything about the character from the video games at all. This is this new character to me coming in. Pretty spot on too. Yep.
That one was spot on.
And this was our first encounter with the clickers, which was just absolutely terrifying.
That was so good in the show,
that looks amazing. And I was oh my gosh, this is this becomes such a good horror show now when they introduce them. How they all work as well, because they're all connected as a hive. And when they were discussing about that, I was that's freaky, man. And just the way they look, the way they sound. And just overall, Bella Ramsey's portrayal as Ellie, I think she does an amazing job. Just being, just a normal kid trying to survive the apocalypse. And then Joel being just an angry asshole at this point in time. he's just in it to try and get to his brother. She's trying to get to Tommy. That's the whole reason why he's going on this journey.
What was that?
Sorry, Barry. Was that the first time you've seen the clickers? Heard of the clickers?
Heard of the clickers, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was just generic zombie stuff. I didn't know about any of the fungus stuff and everything like that. So I was just just
Bro.
other zombie stuff. I was like, oh, I didn't actually realize, it was all the fungus, and then they had their own unique like zombie fungus things, and they have all like or even later episodes there was like a big fucking boomer thing, or whatever you want to call it.
He's a bloater.
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 Like
So
these
good.
things, they
Fucked
look
up.
and just absolutely amazing. And the clicking noise, like it's just so John Carpenter horror-esque. It's so amazing.
It was so good. Yeah, when they found the corpse of one of them just like attached to the wall and like growing into it, I was like, oh man, we're in for something good. I'm excited. And then was it this episode or the next episode? I think it was the next one. Sorry to jump ahead in the next episode where they end up at the museum and they get stuck in the room with the real clickers.
No, that's this episode. Yeah,
That's
episode
That
2.
was the same one.
Yeah,
I
same
don't know.
one.
They
Episode
those
2.
ones kind of blend together. But
Yeah.
but
I think it's meant to be like part 1 and part
so
2.
good.
So.
It's all part whatever in a series. We can kind of
All part,
blend it.
whatever.
It's all right.
It's all part 1.
But yeah, no, the clickers were really well done, and like they looked real. Like they were real. They weren't really CGI.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
it was
think.
all just like
It's all the makeup
prosthetics
suits.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
That must have been hot
Yeah.
under there.
Oh yes, all that latex and
Those
stuff
were
like that.
looking-
Like, damn, you're sweating.
Cordyceps.
It was off to a strong start.
Yeah.
I got a free what's it called? I got the free trial on is it Hinge?
Binge.
Is that what
Yeah.
it's called?
Binge.
Yeah, I on
Hinge.
Binge.
The dating website.
Yeah. Hinge, Binge. I can't remember. Hinge. That's right. On Binge. The free trial on Hinge, you see. No, I got the free trial on Binge and watched the first 2 episodes on that because I got 2 weeks free. And then after that, I did it on other means, which I shall not disclose. But it was really good. It was enough for me to contemplate a a binge subscription.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
it kept going. And it
It's
kept
the only
consistently
good
being
show
good.
on at the moment. On Binge.
Yeah.
Just
That's
that.
Well, that's
yeah.
basically it at the moment. So
It's
I
all
mean, it's the only
HBO
way in
stuff,
Australia
isn't
we
it?
can watch it
Yeah.
anyway. So, well,
That's how.
by legal means anyway.
Ooh. Well, I think that throws
but
us
yeah,
into the 3rd episode then.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was going to say at the end of that, obviously, this is the first major death or second like major death in the show
Oh.
as well, because Tess does sacrifice herself.
No.
Yes.
She gets kissed
So
by
she
the
wasn't
zombie.
around for
was
that long. That's right. Yeah, she has some French kissing with the zombie, which was a bit weird. The weird little tendril things, and obviously
Yeah.
that sets up a disagreement between obviously just having Joel and Ellie by themselves, and Joel doesn't really trust Ellie too much still, because he obviously thinks that she's infected. And then obviously going into the next episode now, titled
Flashback.
A Long, Long Time, which is a flashback episode. Yeah. When an unknown person approached his compound, survivalist Bill forges an unlikely connection. Later, Joel and Ellie seek Bill's guidance. So this was a different change of pacing of the episode.
yeah.
This time we went back again
was.
and just focused on this Bill character that I knew nothing about.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
And
Bill in the game is
I
so good.
forgot
I
about
loved
Bill.
it. I loved it.
Yeah. He's not in the game for much, but he's such a memorable character in the game. And this is where the show
Okay.
really starts to differ from the games. Because in the
Yep, yep.
game, Frank's a dead guy that you find, and there's no other mention of him apart
okay.
from notes and stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, so their relationship I think is only hinted at in the game, if that.
Okay, so you
Because
don't
Bill's
actually
kind
see
of
it
a
at all.
loner
Yeah.
dude, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
the start of
Yeah,
this
I believe
episode
you
was
find
really
them when
freaking
they're
good.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You not Bill. You find Bill when he's alive because remember they
Find
had
Bill
that
alive.
talks. Ellie's in his basement touching his stuff, and he's like getting mad at her.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
And we
so
get a lot-
Billy,
Yeah,
Bill
yeah.
and Ellie actually met.
Yeah, and we
Okay.
get a lot of Joel and Bill in the game. I
Yep.
wish happened because they're such a funny duo. Because Bill's just a funny guy. He'll be like setting traps, and they'll be like, he led him through the city in order to get out. Because in the game, he's in the middle of a city, whereas this one he's just kind of in some suburb.
Right.
But it was good.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a different departure on that. James, you want to talk about this episode, bud?
Yeah, this was my favorite episode at
Really?
this point, probably of the whole season actually,
Damn.
because it was just so it just shocked me. I was like, I wasn't expecting the scene when you realize that they're a gay couple, and I was like, oh fuck, they have that romantic moment where
Comes out of the
they're on
shower.
the piano.
yeah.
Yeah, but what's his name? Bill or Nick Offerman that plays Bill,
Oh yeah.
perfect for
Yep.
the cast. Perfect. He like did that whole like survivalist doomsday prep
Well, the
thing
guy
perfectly.
basically is
Like
a
good.
survivalist in real life.
Yeah,
Like
pretty
if you
much.
ever watch like
Is he?
behind the scenes stuff, he's basically like a carpenter and he just makes his own stuff. So yeah, this fitted so well for his role.
So perfectly. Yeah, like the scene, like when he like he's in the bunker and he's like waiting
Oh,
for the SWAT people to leave, and he's like,
he's
"Not
watching them.
today, you jackpot, motherfuckers."
Yeah, no, I love the start of the episode, the
Yeah.
whole montage where they're like, "We've cleared out the town." He's like, "Not today," and he just starts playing music and driving around, doing his building and all of that.
Yeah,
That was so good.
Oh yeah.
so good, so
Oh,
good.
and then
Yeah,
and then it
and it was
turned
the
into a little
perfect off
romance
story.
episode.
Yeah, well, that's the
Mm.
thing. It was definitely like a big departure from what I was expecting anyway. Because, yeah, the past two episodes were very like, everyone's dying, the world's ending, stuff like that. And then it just shows this guy, even though the world's ending, just having a good old time. You know, he's by
Yeah,
himself
I
in this
know.
town. And he's like the happiest he can be. He's building his stuff, prepping. Because obviously there are like people like this in the world that are just freaks and have basements with thousands of guns and stuff like that. And then he obviously does find someone and spends the remaining rest of his life with him. I think it was something like 15 years or something they spent
Yeah,
together
that was
at the
surprising.
end of the
Mm.
world.
Just how long
Because you
Yeah.
do like,
time that episode
yeah,
was.
because you see like, well, yeah, it takes place like over 20 years, really, that
Yeah,
entire
right.
episode. And you see how
Yeah.
Bill's character obviously goes, well, they both get old with age, him and
Yeah.
Frank. And yeah, it was just, it was a nice episode. Definitely, yeah. I wasn't expecting it, that's for sure, from something like this. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, yeah, they're dead in the end, but they died together. So
It was
that
a very
was
sad
nice.
episode. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Mm. Mm.
Very different,
For sure.
but yeah.
Yeah, very
I
left
don't
of
know, man.
center, but
Yeah. I guess
Yep,
it's
yep.
just because it came out of nowhere. And this episode got a lot of flack when it aired too, because they were like, "No, you've changed
Of
everything about
course
the
it did.
game." Yada 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 yada.
mm,
And being the whole gay romance episode thing.
Well, that's the thing,
Which-
because like the last thing I've seen Nick Offerman, the guy that played Bill, was in Parks and Rec. And
Oh,
in
that's
Parks and
right.
Oh, yeah.
Recreation, he's just probably like the most American person you could be, like so anti-gay and stuff like that. Because obviously that was done a very long time ago now. And then seeing him come into this role where he's just like playing as this character and very
Or
like
had to do-
serious and
he
different
had to
tone.
do
It's just
2
like,
gay
oh,
sex
okay,
scenes in this episode.
yeah, like they get naked, man. Well, almost
They
naked.
get naked lots.
you see his big hairy man titties.
There's
So-
costume and everything. Oh,
Yeah, but it's a
I
good
wasn't
episode.
expecting
I
it
enjoyed this
in my
one.
zombie
Yeah.
show, but yeah, it was entertaining.
Yeah,
yeah. Even
What was-
he reminded me of a dude I went to school with as well. Like a very awkward dude.
you went to
like
school with Nick
his facial.
Offerman.
By the way, I went to school with him. You know, he was a bit of an actor back in the
Whoa.
day. Drama
Yep.
class. Nah, he was there's a guy I went to school with. It was like his facial expressions that really got me when he would look at people and like he didn't know like what to say or like how to feel. Like when Frank would talk to him, like a normal
Yeah.
person, he'd be like I don't fucking know. And that
Yeah.
it was very well
And then
done.
obviously, yeah, it did have like the flashback scenes of Joel and Tess meeting with them and like
Oh,
having
yep.
lunch and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And it was
that-
all just like
it was kinda
5-star rating meal and everything like that. It all looked really nice and looks like the
Very
world
whack.
didn't end essentially. So
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah. Well, for them, it
most
did.
Yeah.
successful Minecraft base ever created.
Literally.
Yep. If the world ever
Literally.
ends, I'm going to Nick Offerman's house straight away.
Yeah.
For sure.
He'd have
For
you
sure.
set.
You have
Oh,
me
man.
set. Yep.
So good.
Okay, so
What happened
going
next? What was the next
Yeah, Clay, what were
episode
your
4.
thoughts?
The next episode
I gave my
was
thoughts.
Please
Clay.
Hold My Hand.
Oh.
So after abandoning their truck in Kansas City, Joel and Ellie attempt to escape without drawing attention on a vindictive rebel leader. So obviously, yeah, this is the episode where they come into Kansas City and we meet a new threat as of the name of Kathleen Coughlin or Kathleen, whatever. And she is like running this rebel group that took out the government of Kansas City. And they're obviously trying to hunt down other people as well. And we also have a character called Perry in this episode, which I know he did the voice for Tommy in the video game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't
Yep.
pick
So
that
I
one.
found that out earlier. So yeah, James, episode thoughts, buddy. What are your thoughts on this one?
Good. I liked how, and this is like with the narrative, the way they set up the storyline, so that like you sort of like the world keeps on expanding. Like you get this feel that like every time a new episode comes out, you like learn more about each aspect of like the post-apocalyptic world they're living in. Um, I thought it was good. Like I kind of found Kathleen's character kind of funny. Like she's a little sarcastic at times, and
Yeah.
I like that. I like the way she was portrayed. I can't remember how she was in the video game, um, but yeah, I kind of. This was sort of the point where I like didn't remember parts of the video game, and I was kind of like felt like I was watching it for the first time.
Yep.
So yeah, it was good. And this is the scene when they meet like the younger brother, the deaf younger brother.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
the
at
two
the end of
guys.
the episode they do.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
that's
leads
right.
into the
yeah.
next episode. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Spoilers. Don't want to get too far ahead.
Yeah, and obviously
Whoa.
this is
Yeah.
like well, Clayton, do you want to talk about this one because you know more
This
about the
one?
video game than I do? Yeah.
Yeah. So this one starts off with them doing a little driving trip, which was
Mhm.
pretty much kind of identical to the game. They played the same Hank Williams song on cassette as they did in the game.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
was kind of cool. A nod to it. They had the same joke with the magazine that they had in the game. All of that was the same. The only difference was probably the size of the ambush. In the game, Joel kills about 50 people in that ambush.
Oh, okay.
And I
It's not
think-
3.
No, they get hit with like
Yeah.
another truck or something, like a tank or something hits them in the game. I can't remember. But I feel like it was done better in the show, that part at least.
Yeah.
The whole
Yep.
tense standoff with just two guys shooting. That was really good. And then, of course, the scene where Ellie has to shoot someone to save Joel. That was
Yep,
probably my
yep.
favorite part. And Joel's just standing there like, nah, man, what do we do? He's trying to catch his breath, and the other guy's pleading for his life. Like, no, man, we can trade. It's okay. We're cool now. And then,
That was
and then
wild.
Joel's like, go behind the corner. And then just like
Yeah.
slits his throat or something. That was very, very intense, which didn't happen in the game. In the game, they just shoot some people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Joel just kills
And
everyone.
it's Ellie's. I believe it's Ellie's first time as well that she shoots a gun, or in the TV show.
Yeah. It's the first time we see her
weird.
shoot a gun. It's later revealed.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like, it wasn't my first time hurting someone, but we learn about that later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was a pretty
Yeah.
different type of episode. It was just a bit more action focused and surviving in Kansas City.
Mhm.
A bit more, and this is where we got to see the darker side of Joel's character a bit more.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
just he can easily quite kill people. He is very capable of that, and also kind of torturing them a bit as well. Because he's
Kind of.
very
Yeah.
because he's pissed off at them shooting him and taking their stuff, and now obviously they're trying to survive in the city and trying to get a way out, which is when they meet up with the two brothers, which was
Ooh.
interesting.
Henry and Sam.
Sorry, but obviously as well, talk just quickly about this episode. We had the Perry character, which is the guy with the great beard that was hunting down Joel and Ellie. That was like the second
looked
guy in
familiar.
charge of the rebel group. Yeah, so he was the guy that voiced Tommy in the video game.
See, now that's probably
Yeah.
why I recognize it. I thought I didn't pick it, but no,
That's cool.
I remember now. I get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was just like, and I think he's been in a couple other things. That same guy, the actor
Probably.
anyway, because I've actually seen him in TV shows before. I just can't remember what it was.
Hmm. He's probably been in
and
one. They all have.
probably been a lot. Yeah, all of them have. But I suppose we can just go straight into the second episode then, because it just basically it's like a part 1 and part 2 scenario type thing, where we've got episode 5, Endure and Survive. While attempting to evade the rebels, Joel and Ellie cross paths with the most wanted man in Kansas City. Kathleen continues her hunt. So the most wanted people are the two brothers, which is Sam and Henry,
They're
essentially.
two
because
brothers.
two brothers. And obviously the Sam is deaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they obviously use
Yes.
sign language and everything like that, and they're trying to survive from the rebels and everything like that because of the takeover. And that's this episode, and obviously Joel and Ellie help them out trying to get out of the city. So yeah, James, you want to talk about this episode?
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, my phone overheated, so
I just saw you left
the
the
messenger
call.
app closed. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
That's
Sorry
all right.
about that.
It's
All
All
good.
good.
I
But
think my
anyway,
phone's gonna
yeah.
go flat soon anyway.
It's all done, post-apocalyptic.
No.
But yeah, it was a good episode. And like I was saying earlier, I forgot a lot of what was in the video game at this point. So like a lot of the scenes that like followed were kind of like a shock to me. Um,
Yeah.
but I love the way the love that the brother has, or like the love that the brothers have between each other, was done very well. I can't really remember the episode, to be honest.
That's okay. I can talk
Yeah,
about it
no,
if you'd
good.
like. This one
Yeah.
also differed a lot from the games. In the game,
Okay.
Sam isn't
Yep.
deaf, so there's not that dynamic, which is something that I actually prefer in the show. I kind of like how he had to look after him a bit more than he did in the show, in the games. And in the games, Sam is Ellie's age. They're the same age. They get along.
Okay.
It's
So there's
kind
not
of
that. Yeah.
hinted a little romance between them, but not really. And it's also that mission in the game is set in the suburbs, so it's the opposite of the Frank and Bill one, where this one should have been in the suburbs with
Yep.
whereas instead of the city. But oh man, when the when I'm trying to think now, when the floor collapsed in that house and all of the zombie dudes came rushing up at the end, that was pretty cool. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole show.
Because that was the first time we got to see the big boy.
Bloater?
What did you call it?
Yeah,
The bloater.
Bloater.
Yeah.
Boy.
So that is still a real suit, by the way. Like they actually made.
Man. That's
Because I
impressive.
was watching like behind the scenes for it, and they actually made that as a proper suit a guy's wearing for it. And then obviously, yeah, shit goes down, and a lot of people die, and they escape. But obviously,
zombies.
other stuff happens as well.
Yeah. So it's
there
revealed
was a
that-
lot to.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you go.
Okay, so yeah, there was a lot to cover in this episode. Like obviously, we saw the relationship, same differences between like obviously Joel and Ellie's character, and then also Henry trying to protect his brother, because they're all just trying to get out. They're all trying to survive, everything like that. And yeah, obviously you do see Ellie and Sam getting along with one another, because it's actually the first time Ellie's met someone close to her age, like just another kid trying to survive. And then you got Henry, who is trying to be that older brother and trying to protect his little brother from trying to get out. And this is what I don't really understand still, or just forgot, that why is the rebels trying to get Henry?
He was a rat. Remember, he sold them out to Fedra, I think, because he said because his brother had leukemia, I think it was, as well, and he traded information for medicine. So they put him as a rat, and he got away. I guess he might have killed someone that she was friends with as well. I'm not sure about that.
Yep.
I think that was true. In the games, I don't think any of that is in it. In the games, I think it's Fedra that's hunting them, and I think Sam and Henry are just kind of making their way through the suburbs.
Yep.
I feel like this one did it really well. It really made you care about the characters. This is the first time that Joel and Ellie have had to, have met nice people on their journey together. And seeing the relationship unfold, especially the ending, wherein it's revealed that Sam was bitten and he was infected. That was pretty impactful. That was done different in the games too. In the games, I think his brother knew and didn't say anything, but I don't think Joel and Ellie knew, which I think caused Joel to be hostile at the end because he let him sleep in the same room.
Yep.
But that also meant that Ellie couldn't try and save him like she did, which I thought was a nice little moment. When she cut her hand, tried to put the blood on and see if that would work, which it obviously doesn't. But, man, it was done really well. And then, of course, Henry shoots himself after forced to kill Sam. which happens in the game.
Yeah. Oh,
So that was
okay.
pretty good.
Yeah, I was like really shocked by that. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, we had the past 2 episodes of them, and this episode going through it, trying to get out of the city and everything like that.
You wouldn't have
And
seen
it was all like
coming
just
too.
calm down and everything
Yeah.
like that. And then all of a sudden, it's revealed that the kid has got bitten,
Mhm.
and I was like, shit, oh no, they're gonna have to kill a kid. And then I was like, oh,
No.
Ellie's obviously trying to put the blood on, and then I was like, oh, I actually wonder if that will work.
Oh no, he didn't know.
Because that's the thing, and
He didn't know.
I was just like, it's like, maybe that's a form of it working, and then obviously it didn't. And then when the brother Henry obviously did have to kill his little brother, and then he's just like, what have I done type thing, and then kills himself. So it's just like, even though Joel and Ellie went all through that trying to help these brothers and all the stuff they went through, like they also had that scene when they're in the basement where all the child stuff was, where the teaching, where the school was. Like that, like really got to me and all that. And then at the end, to see all this, like, what was the point to it?
I know.
Like they just died.
It was worse in the games because you spend hours with these people. You end up separated.
Okay.
You end up having to split up. There's lots of underground stuff where they went through the tunnels.
Yep.
Where it is in the show, it was like 2 minutes. In the games, that was like 2 or 3 hours of you just being stuck in the tunnels trying to get to Ellie and Sam.
Damn.
And yeah, it was a lot more, I guess, emotional in the games. There was a lot more stakes.
Yep.
But in the show, it just felt just as good. It was good.
Oh yeah.
Really
no,
well done.
I was
This is
still
probably
taken
my
back
favorite
by
episode.
Yeah, no, it was very well done because this is the first time as well where we see like a mass amount of the clickers and the bloater and everything like that. They just come storming out of the ground and basically kill everyone in the rebel army. Especially the little girl clicker. Like she just pounces onto that lady. She gets into the car to try and attack Ellie, and then she just pounces on that lady at the end and just like rips her face off. I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool.
It was very,
and then like all
episode.
that to happen, like the action scene to happen, and then it's just like, oh, their brothers are dead now. It's like, oh, okay. And then they have to bury him, and it was, oh man,
oh, I know,
it was sad. It was sad. Yeah,
damn,
it was good though. Definitely very good.
For sure.
James, did you have any
Okay.
other thoughts on that one?
Yeah, any other episodes?
Can't say much else, to be honest.
Fair enough. What was the next episode?
Well, the next episode, number 6, is called Kin. After ignoring the advice of locals, Joel and Ellie descend deeper into the dangerous territory in search of the Fireflies and Tommy.
Oh, that's right.
So this is the episode where we first meet Tommy. Well, meet modern day Tommy at this town, this encampment called, I think, is it called Jackson?
Jackson. Yep, Jackson.
Jackson, yeah. And obviously they see this town that everyone's thriving and living quite good, to be honest. And this is the first time where Joel and Tommy reunite with one another.
Yep.
And obviously things go down in this episode. So James, you want to kick us off with this one?
Yeah. See, with this one, it was like, how do I put it? It's just like, sorry, I'm not very good with my words, but
that's
okay.
all right.
Take your time, dude. We'll fill in the gaps. Just cut them out.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked the way with the beginning when they enter the town and like, and you kind of get to see like more of Ellie's perspective on like how she's coping as she like enters the town, has to meet people all of a sudden and like good people as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. Because you get like that scene when there's like a girl sort of like hiding in the corner, sort of spying on Ellie and Joel.
That's some foreshadowing. I think that was Danny. James, I think that's possible spoilers for the second season of The Last of Us or the second game. Barry, if you don't mind. Do you mind, Barry?
Oh, I know who this character is. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was Danny.
Characters.
I think that might be Ellie's girlfriend from the second game.
That's some deep foreshadowing.
At least it could not be, but I don't see who else it could be. So
yeah, I think they already mentioned something like that in an interview. Something about that scene when it came out. They're like, yeah, no, we're already like foreshadowing it because they obviously are planning all this out. So
well, that's cool then.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's awesome seeing like Ellie's sort of survival mindset, because like her and Joel are like in this sort of survival mindset because they've been basically like killing people left, right, and center
For
since they
3
left
months at that point.
Yeah, 3 months. I think in this episode, like you get to see more of like the landscape as well, like the mountains and the bridge. I think
I
there
love
was that
that.
bridge.
Looks so good.
That was amazingly filmed. I love that. Um, but yeah, like the survival, like how do I put it? It was I liked how oh yeah, because she was like yelling at the kid like, "Fuck do you want?" And they're like, "Oh shit." Like you kind of see like Ellie's like this a
Gruff.
very like
Yeah.
gruff, aggressive person, but like any person she meets, like her first thought is, "Oh my god, they're gonna kill me! Like something's up,
Yeah.
something's wrong." Um, and even like when she's reading the book later on, in her room, and she's like, "Is this all girls had to think about? You know, before the apocalypse, like it was just boys and clothes and shit."
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really good contrast in that episode, seeing that for sure.
So good.
And even just
Oh,
the
yeah.
town itself, like Tommy, he's living this good life where he doesn't really want to leave. And then Joel is kind of like breaking down, like because he's gone through so much shit. So he's like, fuck Tommy, like I need to do this, I need to do that. And Tommy's just like, man, it's all good, just calm down, it's chill.
Oh yeah, I love Tommy in this episode. Ah, should
Mm.
I say
Yeah,
my
you
thoughts
go
now?
for it, Clayton. Yep.
Oh, whoa. So yeah,
Yeah.
harkening back to
Well.
the scenery, so well done, and most of it was filmed on location. I think I know that they built
Yeah.
a whole set for Jackson, so I think most of it was filmed
Right.
on location, or at least somewhere nearby with a little bit of CGI help. But yeah, the scenery was good, and I love the start of this episode with the old like Native American couple at
Yes.
the
Yeah, I
start in
was
the
going to
little
talk
cabin.
about that. That
They
is
show
great.
up. Yeah, that was so funny. He's like, "Did you tell him the truth?" Yes. You telling me the truth? Yes. You made him a cup of tea too? Yeah. Why didn't you shoot him? Gun was over there. It's like, oh, that was so funny. So good. And then yeah, they obviously meet Tommy as they pass a
Yeah.
dam. In the games, that whole dam thing is another base, and that's where they meet Tommy. They got to power it up and like help fight off a bunch of attackers and
Yeah.
stuff. It's a lot of work before you even get to.
Okay.
I don't think you get to see Jackson at all in the game until the very end, because that's where Tommy's headed
Okay.
back to. I don't
Yep.
think they go to Jackson, but yeah, but they do, and it looks just like it did in the second game. It looked pretty spot on.
Oh, okay.
And
Yep.
that horse that Ellie meets as well, Shimmer, that's her horse from the second
Yeah,
game.
that's her horse
That'll
from the
come
second
back.
game.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was really cool. I loved all of the hinting, the little metaphorical stuff, like when Joel saw that girl that looked like his daughter in the crowd. He was kind of thinking
Yes.
like
That's
this
right.
could have been the life that he was living, you know. And then of course that leads him to try and get Tommy to take Ellie, or come with him at least. And he was just
Yep.
going to ditch it, and then he can't. And then he gives Ellie the choice, and Ellie immediately chooses Joel. I'd rather go with Pedro Pascal. And then they hop on their horse and head off on their own to the University of California, which brings us to the next episode.
Dun, dun,
Whoop,
dun.
left
Are
behind.
we going to skip my thoughts on it? Or?
Depends what
Or
yours
did I?
are. Yeah.
So I'll do it
remember
quickly.
if you talked.
Yeah.
Carry
This
on.
is basically the first episode of the season as well, where Joel and Ellie have their first major confrontation, because this is the first time Ellie finds out about Sarah, which was Joel's
Yes.
daughter. Which obviously, yeah, at this point in time, she hasn't been told anything about Sarah at all. And she was just like, oh, he had a daughter and everything. And then obviously, yeah, finds out what happened and stuff like that. And yeah, they have their first major fight with one another, because Joel's basically having all these anxiety problems, and he's an older man. That's the thing, because he's meant to be playing a 56-year-old guy
Something
at this
like
point.
that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm.
Because even older than what Pedro Pascal actually is in real life.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, like you do see, I think he has an anxiety attack, and that's when he sees like the person that looks like his daughter and stuff like that, and he starts freaking out. So then he obviously wants Tommy to take Ellie, because he knows he'll be safer, because he thinks he can't do it anymore. essentially he thinks he can't keep her safe. And then obviously he has the big confrontation with her where he tells Ellie, "You're going with Tommy. That's it," type thing. But then obviously doesn't and goes on the horse with Ellie. And then they go to, the university, which at the end of the episode, they come across 4 guys and Joel gets stabbed. And now Joel's stabbed. Going into the next episode.
Yeah.
Where Joel's trying to survive. Ellie's trying to help him no matter what's going on.
So good. Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Before the next episode,
Episode
it goes to
7,
flashback, doesn't it?
Left Behind.
That's right.
As Joel fights to survive, Ellie looks back on the night that changed everything. So this is the next flashback episode where we meet the character Riley.
And
about a bit more of Ellie's past and everything like that. So, yeah, James, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, see, this was yet another episode that I forgot. I thought it was like similar to the Bill and Frank backstory, where I thought like, oh, cool, they're like giving Ellie's backstory. But I really liked it. I thought it was amazing. I've forgotten who acts as Riley, but Riley's character was on point. The like chemistry between her and Ellie was good. And yeah, I thought it was another like similar to the two brothers, is that same tragedy situation. Where I was kind of just left like sad towards the end of the episode, feeling upset about it. Yeah, I really like the way they did the whole the arcade and the carousel.
Oh yeah,
when they got to the shopping mall. I thought that was amazing. I like that.
That was so good. That was just like the game. It was awesome.
Yeah, because I like with the environments that they choose, like it very much. One thing that like live action gives in the storytelling, I find, is that you get like a more like breath of like life or like realistic reflection on how the story is unfolding, and how they were talking about how like different things have been taken from certain stores and which ones hadn't. Like the Victoria's Secret store was just completely fully stocked up. No one even bothered to get lingerie. I like that. It was very like, it felt like, yeah, that's something that would actually happen in real life.
It felt fleshed out, yeah.
Definitely.
Very good.
And yeah, towards the end, like I was a little unsure. I was like, I don't know if like Ellie or Riley, I wasn't sure if like it was going to show her like having to kill Riley. And I was like, just thinking like, oh God, like I don't want to see another fucking like kid get shot in the face. I was like, fuck. But yeah, I really liked it. It's a good episode.
That was a really good one. Barry, do you want to give your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I was going to get you to go first because you know more about the video game than I do.
I'll just forget that
because
you haven't
my question was really, was this actually in the game at all?
All right,
or was this something
the thing
added?
with that, this was a DLC for the game where this happened.
Ah, okay.
It kind of linked it into the part where Joel gets stabbed. All right. So in the game, this is a DLC where they end up in a mall instead of a random house at the start. So Ellie drags him to a mall. And obviously this is a side story to the game. It's supposed to be before she takes Joel to that house. So when she's looking after Joel, she reflects on it because they're in a mall. He gets the flashback. So it's a whole self-contained little DLC story. I actually think it's a free to download little standalone thing as well on the PlayStation, or at least it was for a little while. Yeah. But it was pretty spot on to the game. I mean, it had the same arcade scene, the carousel scene, they got bitten scene. There was they skipped the 30-minute water fight that you have to have in the game.
There's a 30-minute water fight.
Yep, you have to water fight. Yeah, if you win, you get like an achievement for it. It was good. That wasn't in it, but I felt like it was done really well with what they did there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was like just a very nice story of these two girls and everything. Being girls in the apocalypse, trying to do what the best they could do, because obviously that Riley character joined the Fireflies or whatever, and then obviously left and everything like that. But yeah, it was just another nice change of pace type of episode, especially when we just had Joel getting stabbed and everything like that. And I was so happy when they were in the arcade and they were playing Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah,
Like that was my first ever video game
You've
arcade experience. I've actually
got
got
the
a Mortal
cabinet in the
Kombat 2
background.
cabinet in my room. So
So
for me,
cool.
that is amazing to see. That part anyway. And like I said, yeah, it was just a good story to take us away from what was going on. And then obviously it does end in tragedy. Riley does get bitten. So in the game, do you actually have to kill Riley?
Oh, it's a cutscene.
Oh, okay.
But Ellie does kill Riley. Yeah, they plan to shoot each other. Of course.
Yeah.
When they're sitting there, and it lasts a lot longer than it did in the show. I'm pretty sure the game spends about 20 minutes of them just kind of sitting there talking as they slowly start turning. It's very very full on in the game.
Yep.
But yeah, they did it really well.
Nice.
So this one was probably one of the most faithful episodes to the game, I'd probably say. I mean, everything in it matched all the story beats to it, and I'm surprised that they showed this at all, considering it was a little DLC episode. They could have easily just removed this episode entirely and the show would have worked just fine, but I'm glad it was in there. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so on to episode 8 then. This is the freaky fucking episode. Why do they need to add cannibals to every single zombie thing? So yeah, episode 8, When We Are in Need. Ellie crosses paths with a vengeful group of survivors and draws the attention of its leader. Weakened Joel faces a new threat. So yeah, this is the first time we meet the character of David, who's basically made his own fucking cult.
Man.
Yeah. This was a good episode, but it was disturbing. It was disturbing. James, talk about this one.
Yes. I mean, what can I say? Very disturbing. I loved the way with the preacher idea where he's because I actually thought he was good because I was still sort of piecing together the story, so I was like, oh yeah, this guy's all right, he's good.
Didn't remember.
Yeah, I didn't remember, so I was like, oh, he's good. And so I thought okay, I'm not sure why he's in this scene in particular, but as it unfolds and then Ellie meets him when she's hunting the deer, that's when I was like, oh shit, he's one of those creepy preacher dudes. This isn't gonna go.
That's an understatement.
Goddamn Catholics.
Bro. Yeah. This episode, man.
But I love the cameos as well. My mate Sam told me that James was played by Troy Baker, who was the voice of Joel in the
Troy
video
Baker
games.
played you? What?
Oh, wow.
Dude, I know, right? Insane. Hey.
As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh my god, it's Troy Baker, it's Joel. And he made him, he did a good job of not sounding like Joel too. Yeah.
Yeah, he just did his normal voice.
So good. Oh man.
Yeah, I was made for it. But it didn't really dawn on me either that they were going to be eating human flesh towards the end bit as well. So it was really it built up so well to this ending crescendo of oh fuck, this dude is fucking crazy. The more he opens up to Ellie about all of his his outlook on life and everything, I was like, fuck, this guy is a sociopath come narcissist. Yeah, it was freaky.
He's a very weird guy.
But yeah, and I thought Bella Ramsey did an amazing job acting. I think showing her trauma was just on point. It felt like you kind of were feeling the shock of it all, of holy fuck, what have I gotten myself into? And when she's screaming in Joel's arms when he finds her and she's still sort of in that mode of shock. Yeah, it was quite what's the
intense.
word?
It was really well done.
Intense, for sure. Yeah. What else did I like?
Oh man,
that's the thing, because Clayton, how much was it like the video game? like
This one
quite
was
spot on,
pretty
like
much
these characters? Or
identical.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
as soon as I saw the part where they were hunting the deer, I was like, oh god, I know where this is going. And yeah, it was
Yep.
pretty much spot on. She gets like kidnapped and taken, doing the thing. They threatened to chop her up and stuff. It was god awful. And then yeah, she ends up breaking out. Joel ends up coming to get her as well, which is all pretty much
Yep.
identical to the game. It's just yeah,
Mm.
obviously not as drawn out as the game. The game draws everything out a lot more, which obviously can make it a lot more impactful, but wouldn't have worked on the TV, which is
Yep.
totally cool. But yeah, when it got to that end part where everything's on fire and is it David? Yeah, David was
Yeah, David.
Preacher
Yep.
Man. Preacher Man was
Yep.
like holding his cleaver and going after Ellie, and Ellie stabs him, and then he like pins her to the ground. I was like, Jesus Christ, it was very awful. And then yeah, Ellie of course kills her, and then Joel comes and finds her. But yeah, it was probably the most intense episode, but also one of my favorites, just because of how well it was done, how well Bella Ramsey handled the whole thing. It felt
Yeah.
real, felt really real,
Yep.
and that of course is a good thing to watch, but also it's a very unsettling thing when it's with
Well,
this
that's the
subject
thing,
matter.
because it's just like this is the first episode we actually see her like fighting for herself. Like she doesn't have Joel around to
Yeah.
help her this time because Joel's still injured. You know, he's recovering.
Yeah.
And it was just like seeing all this happen to her was just like, oh shit, like a 14-year-old's
Yeah.
like going through all this shit.
Mhm. You have to play as Ellie
Yeah.
in the game for that part too, because Joel.
I assume that.
This is
that.
This is where you play as Ellie for a little bit.
Yep.
And yeah, it's very threatening to be a 14-year-old girl in a game full of murderous, rapey cannibals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the whole cannibal part. It's like every single time, man. Like back when they did it in Walking Dead as well. I'm just like, why is that the first thing they start thinking of? I'm just
I
like,
don't know,
no,
man.
don't start eating people. Like I
It's working for the
understand
zombies.
why, but you don't have to.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It was very
apparently-
unsettling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we
Apparently,
obviously see
I was watching-
Joel go. Oh yeah, go for it, James.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, I was watching another podcast by like Chara Larazad. And she had Troy Baker on, and he was saying like
Oh.
in that scene for him, it was a very intense episode to film because like they had to be out like in like minus 16 degrees
Oh,
Celsius or
geez.
something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were wearing like full heated pads under their like jackets and everything to not get like frostbite and shit. But yeah, he was saying like even like Bella Ramsey like being in the cage, like you could feel like the presence like walking into the room, kind of like everything just drawed to her in that scene. And yeah, and also too like they had to do like these like massive fans and shit to blow like the blizzard winds, and apparently that was a very
Oh,
like very
That'd be
intense
so
scene
cold.
to shoot.
Damn.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
Imagine the
cold.
frostbite coming from that.
ooh. Yeah. Well, it's a good
It's
thing
all right.
they
They
set
made
everything
a
on
fire
at
in the
end.
episode. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, I think that.
And then
that
yeah,
does it for
obviously
that one.
Joel goes on that rampage as well and just like
Yeah.
starts killing those guys like really
Yeah.
violently as well. He's like
so
a
many
knife
people.
through the kneecap and stuff like that, trying to get answers from him. I was just like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, here's the dark side of Joel.
Does that
So
in
yeah,
the
and that
game too.
goes into the second episode after all that, which is the final episode,
finale.
the final one, episode 9. Look for the light. Yeah. So the description on this isn't that great. Give me a second
Whoa.
because
The
that
end
was a
of the
bit
game.
funky.
See
It's the end of the
flashbacks.
game. After
Ellie's
being
birth.
pursued by infected, a pregnant Anna places her trust in a friend. Ellie is forced to grapple with the toll of her journey while Joel faces a decision of his own. So there was a lot that happened in this 40 minutes episode.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the I think it's the
Oh, wow.
shortest episode out of the entire show, and
know,
there
it
was
was
a lot
surprising.
they had to like add into it because it being the final episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, James, want to kick us off the final episode of The Last of Us?
Yeah, this episode was a shock to me, because Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie's
Ooh, it's
mum,
Ellie.
like
Yes,
it's
yep.
Ellie.
It's
Yeah,
Ellie. As soon as I
I-
heard the voice, I knew.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, but it's crazy because I've been watching like Critical Role, Dungeons and Dragons on YouTube,
Yep.
and I'd seen her on there, but I made no connection to Last of Us. When I
Ah.
saw her, I was like, "Oh my god, it's fucking Ashley!" I was like, "No way!"
Yeah, she's so good.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise to see her on the screen. I thought she did a great job as Ellie's mum. Um, and it's such like a brutal, intense scene. Fight like imagine that like your mum gave birth to you while you're fighting off a zombie. It's quite insane
It
to
was
think
a little
about.
wacky.
Oh,
Yeah.
just a bit. Just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, yeah, and yeah. I thought with the like actually I'll go there a
Sure.
bit later, but I
We'll save the
liked
hospital part to the end.
yeah. We'll say yeah. I thought it was a nice little sort of sentimental moment between Ellie and Joel where I felt like that was really the only time I saw Joel and Ellie like really mesh and like seem like they really like cared for each other
Yeah.
and they were opening up. I don't know. I felt throughout the whole season they were a bit standoffish and like there was a slow build to where they cared and connected, but
I felt it kind
I
of
couldn't
had to do
feel
that
it.
though. I mean, you get moments like when she's reading the joke book to him and she finally makes him laugh and it slowly opens up along that, which I think worked really well. So I'm probably gonna have to
Yeah.
disagree with you there, James.
Damn,
Ooh,
that's some good.
Ooh.
That's
fighting
some
words
good.
those are.
You're not allowed back on the
Yeah, I think
podcast. You're
because
gone.
oh dear, yeah. I think because like in the early episodes, like I felt like it was mainly because Pedro Pascal has that very bland, uh, like stern look about him and presence. I felt like
Exactly like in Mandalorian.
yeah, exactly like in Mandalorian. Like I felt like he kind of brought that like standoffishness a little bit more than in the video game, but I might be remembering it wrong.
Yep.
But seeing and even Ellie like kind of being a little bit spaced out too. I didn't make the connection to the previous episode with like her trauma, but I thought it was a nice sort of segue into the leading narrative of like she's going to go into hospital and she's kind of contemplating what's going on, and I thought that was done really well. And the giraffe scene was pretty cool,
Oh
which I
yeah, I
didn't
love the
realize
giraffe.
was a
It was a real
yeah,
giraffe.
but apparently
It was a
it
real
was a real
giraffe.
giraffe.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
was.
real giraffe.
It
Everything
was
else
wow. I
was
thought it
real
was
giraffe.
green
animated.
screened or blue screened.
Yeah, everything around it was green screen, but it was a real
Right.
giraffe.
Yeah, beautiful giraffe. But yeah,
Oh.
going into the hospital scene, I didn't. I felt like it felt like more like the video game in the sense that Joel just kind of comes in. I felt it was a little
Guns
unrealistic
blazing.
because he kind of yeah, guns fucking blazing, like just kills everybody, not a scratch
Yeah.
on him. And I'm like, I don't know if that seems very realistic,
Yeah, I
but
don't know.
okay. Yeah, I didn't mind it, but it was kind of badass, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I was like, oh, I don't know. But it was the way it ended. I thought was very, very well done.
Very spot on. I feel like it would have been a
Very
little
well.
underwhelming if he didn't just come in and kill everyone. If he just, he walks in and kills
Yeah.
like two guys, it'd be kind of, I guess,
Yeah.
underwhelming ending to it. But
Because
you
you
did
realize
what
how
they had
much
to.
of a yeah, and you kind of I think at that point you kind of see that like Joel's kind of lost his humanity, and he's like, I'm just gonna do whatever it takes to save Ellie. Like I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
Like I've
Yeah,
lost
well, that's
nearly
the thing.
everything. I've lost
He only
Jess.
cares about Ellie now because they've been together for what? For how many months? And
He
that's
only cares about
basically like
family.
he only cares about family now, and basically
Bruce
Ellie's
Dominic Toretto.
his surrogate daughter, essentially, and that's kind of just the whole show is family and trying to get it back together.
This is the way.
This is the way. But yeah, Clayton, did you want to quickly just talk about this one and how it's like? Well, is it like the video game at all? Were they pretty
Whoa.
on par with
Well,
one another?
You don't see anything of Ellie's mother in the game. That's all left up
Okay.
blank. There's none of that. You don't know
Okay.
how Ellie is immune. You don't know any of this other stuff. But I feel like they did that really
Yep.
well. They kind of made it like Blade.
Yeah,
half
yeah, very
vampire, half
much.
zombie thing. That was funny.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I didn't really care too much for that flashback. Like, it was okay, but I feel like the episode would have worked a lot better if it just was 40 minutes of Joel trying to get in and save her, sort of thing,
Ah,
instead of
okay.
all that flashback,
Yeah.
which we didn't really need, but it was enjoyable. And then yeah,
Yep.
of course, the ending scene where he comes and kills everyone, kills all the scientists, and that was straight out of the game. You do that in the
Yep.
game, you
Yeah.
kill about 200 people to get to Ellie.
Yes.
Oh man, it was so good.
Yeah. I
But
kind
I
of feel
enjoyed it.
bad for Marlene as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. She
I
kind of
felt
just
like
gets.
I was like, damn, like, because I forgot about a lot with this show, but yeah, Marlene, I was like, I felt kind of bad for her.
Yeah. Well, I think, because talking
Yeah.
about that Marlene character, the actual person who did the voicing for Marlene in the video game is the same actress in the show. It's the same
Yes,
person
it
they
is.
got.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is good. She
Yeah.
looked like her.
But
Yeah,
no, it was
definitely.
just like I enjoyed the beginning part of it, where we actually got to see the reason why. Well, supposedly the reason why Ellie's immune to the disease and everything like that. I thought it was a very nice touch having, obviously, Ashley Johnson,
The goat. Yes.
playing as Ellie's mother, which was very nice little touch to that. And then obviously, yeah, we do have scenes where Joel and Ellie are basically very much like father and daughter almost in this episode. You know, like they're actually getting along after all these months and everything like that. And Joel opens up about his past and what happened
Mhm.
and why he got that scar on his head and everything like that. And actually tells
Yeah.
Ellie about a lot of things and stuff like that. And I was like, this is a really nice moment. And then obviously, yeah, shit goes down. The fireflies happen because they want to make a cure from Ellie's blood, but obviously that's going to be kill Ellie in the process. And Joel was unhappy about that. And I would be too, to be honest.
Yeah, as you
Like,
do.
you basically have gotten taken care of this kid who's basically become your surrogate daughter. You know her so much over the past few months. You've gone through literal hell to get here with her. And you both survived that. And, you know, this is kind of his second chance in life almost, getting to have out his days with the daughter that he's lost. So, yeah, he's going to fight like hell to do anything to try and get her back, to try and save her. I thought, yeah, like the whole shooting scene and everything like that, I feel like that could have been a bit better done, could have been a bit longer. Because I'm like also guessing when they would have done it in the game, it would have been like this massive thing, like almost boss battle-esque, like just hundreds of guys.
Pretty much.
But for this, it was like a montage of him just going up and killing people type thing. Like, it was just like, oh, cool. And it's only like 3 minutes as well in the actual episode. Like, it wasn't a lot.
It was really short.
It was really short. And then obviously, yeah, he kills the doctors and saves Ellie and then tells Ellie a lie as well about it, or about what happened. Doesn't actually tell the truth,
He does.
which obviously does set up for future things. Obviously, I do know a little bit about part 2. And obviously, events that were caused in this will set up for future seasons or whatever they plan to do. Because apparently, the next season now, or part 2, won't be out for another 2 years minimum.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're also
God.
they talked about splitting the next part into 2 seasons as well.
Yeah, they said they're going to do something a bit different. So
I think would be better for the second part, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how they handle that.
Yeah, but overall, this entire show, I have been just blown away by it, each episode after each episode. And yeah, I just want to see more of it. Obviously, we're not going to see it for 2 years, but it was just a nice story seeing this portrayed. And yeah, it deserves all the praise that it's getting. James, any last thoughts on The Last of Us in general?
Yeah, personally, I thought, just with the bad stuff first, I thought it could have been a little longer. Like, I would have hoped maybe like 2 more episodes to sort of flesh things out, have things a little longer. I did think every episode was going to be like the first one, like an hour and 20 long. So I thought maybe either it's going to be like a 4-part, like a almost like a mini series. But yeah, every episode blew me away. Like you were saying, Barry, it was amazing. Like, I was pretty much waiting every weekend for Monday to watch it. yeah, I had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
Nice.
Cool.
And Clayton, last words, man.
Oh, last words. All right. Well, I'll start
Yeah.
with the bad as well. Again, yeah, it could have been longer. There could have been
Yep.
2-3 more episodes of just them going around doing stuff. They missed out a lot of stuff from the games. They hit all the story beats, but they missed a lot of the side character stuff and also a lot of the zombie stuff. There wasn't as much
Yeah.
infected
There
as
wasn't
I
a lot
would
of
have
zombie
liked.
stuff in this. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there was about like 3 or 4 types of clickers that we didn't see in the show that are in the game, which they could be saving. You know, that doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, I wish they did a lot more with that. Maybe had them
Yep.
get trapped or something. You know, like with the Henry and Sam episode, they could have had an episode
Yeah.
where it's just them trapped in the sewers with clicker dudes coming around. Like that would have been really cool.
Yep.
But other than that, it was, you know, it felt a little bit rushed, but not enough to make it not enjoyable. The show was still really enjoyable, and it's honestly probably one of my favorite video game adaptations to live action.
Nice. Yep.
Which
Yep.
I mean isn't saying much, but it's pretty good. It was
Yeah.
pretty
Well, that's the thing, because a lot
done.
of people are giving it praise who enjoyed the video games and then watched the show. Yeah, a lot of people saying like this is the best like live action video game adaptation ever.
Yeah,
Essentially,
that's debatable, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's Mortal Kombat, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
1995 Mortal Kombat movie is still my favorite.
Best movie ever.
So good.
But yeah, that it's been an overall good show. Obviously, yeah, we have to wait a while now until the next season, and obviously, yeah, it's just been good in general. So on to topic that we end all our podcasts on, the ratings of the show.
Hey.
James, what are you gonna rate this show out of 10, bud?
Ooh. I'd say a 9.
Oh.
9.5.
Oi.
9.5. Wow. That's a pretty good rating.
High. That's the highest rating that's ever been on this podcast so far.
So far.
Yeah.
Absolutely flawless show.
Yep.
Wow.
All right, Clayton.
Well, obviously, it's not
your
because it's
rating?
9.5. If it was flawless, it'd be a 10. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
True.
And
Yep.
An
that's
8.
yeah. I mean, it's a solid 8. It's a really good 8. Like, I'd watch this show again. I will buy it on Blu-ray just to have because I enjoyed it really well. But again, I've seen the story told better in playing the games,
okay.
of course. So
Yep.
it's like I've seen it done better. It just made me wanting this little bit more that maybe if I had gotten in the show, it wouldn't have been as good anyway. But it's that's probably just coming from the fact that I played the games and really enjoyed the games. It's one of my favorite video games of all time, the first one. So yeah, a solid 8 from me.
Nice. Well, coming from a person that knew very little about the video games and has never played them at all, I'm also going to be giving this one an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it quite well, actually. Obviously, knowing very little about it and then coming down and watching it all was just like I was blown away by the acting, the performances, by just everything, the setting, and yeah, just the story that they told in this show. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. We'll go and watch it again, definitely. Yeah.
So, man, I think that brings us to the conclusion of this episode. If anyone was hankering for the next Mandalorian episode, I think we'll save that for next week. For whatever we do, we'll just have an extra long Mando 2-parter. So keep an eye out for that. Anyway, I want to say thank you to James for coming on the podcast as our special guest for this episode.
Thank you very much. Very honored to be on the podcast.
As you should be. We may or may not have you back, depending on how well this episode does.
Yeah, well, we got plenty of episodes planned, man. So you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like 100 years of this podcast.
All right. Anyway, I guess we'll call that here.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.
See ya.